Hi, I am Kristen Miller. Welcome to Candidate Conversations, brought to you by Fort Bend Voters League. Fort Bend Voters League is a nonpartisan organization that supports public engagement, voter engagement, and our motto is bringing civility to public discourse. Thank you so much for bringing us here, for meeting us here today, and give us your time so people can get to know you more as a person and know what you stand for as a candidate. So I appreciate you taking time
Well,
today.
thank you for having me.
Well, let's get started. You are Lily Lamb, and you are running for Fort Bend Trustee Position 5, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Lily, tell me, what is the biggest motivator that made you want to serve Fort Bend ISD, and what uniquely qualifies you as a candidate?
So I think my motivation was definitely multifactorial. One of the biggest things is that my brother is still a Fort Bend ISD student, and I want to be, the bigger sister and kind of support him, but also to be able to support the student body. Being that is also, I just want to have that role in helping students and build them into wonderful graduates, wonderful students. And what uniquely qualifies me is that I am a 2017 Hightower High School graduate. So
Wow.
I've been through this system, and there's definitely a lot that we can do using the student perspective. And so that's why I'm here.
So you bring that fresh student perspective
That's
to the board. What do you see as the three biggest challenges for the district, and what solutions do you feel would be most effective to solve those challenges?
I think the biggest challenges would definitely be, one is mental health, is how is the district going to address mental health? And we still are stuck in that stigma right now, and trying to find ways that the district can support students and their mental well-being is one of the biggest things that I think that we should tackle on first. By introducing and transitioning from that stigma, that's the first step. Okay. Then the second step is creating a mental health program within schools where incoming students would have an upperclassman as a mentor to help them guide them through that process.
Okay.
Well, that's really one of the big things that I would like to push forward to. Another issue is probably just community engagement. For me personally, I think that trying to find ways for students to be more involved in how their education is being brought upon is an important aspect, because this is directly affecting them, and letting them be a part of that decision-making process and seeing if they are receptive to the choices or policies that are being made is a really big deal.
Since you're freshly out of school, what perspective do you feel that the district is not meeting the mental health needs in general? So I hear you mention that, and is there a way that you're thinking they're falling short at this time, or you would like to see it addressed differently? Is there a reason that that's a hot topic for you personally?
I think that throughout the district, as a student, you're mainly focusing on making sure you're succeeding academically, you're performing well. So every student is going through that same pathway of let's go, making sure that let's cross the next thing off the list, and it's not really taking time to see if they're doing well mentally. And I didn't realize how important that was until after I graduated. I was running 65 miles per hour, not really giving myself a break, and realizing that now, that having those breaks and taking the time to take care of yourself will help you in the long run. So that's a really big deal.
Just more addressing the entire student as opposed to just addressing the academic end.
Correct,
Yes. That sounds fabulous. And so, what involvement have you had in the community or in the district? And I'm going to ask you to answer the three individuals that put you in touch with the needs of the students, which I think you probably have a good perspective on, but also the needs of the parents and the needs of the teachers as well.
So, funny story is that one of the factors that motivated me are my teachers. I have close relationships with a handful of them. I was able to relate to them on things, and when I needed help, they were there to support me and encourage me throughout my educational career. And they're one of the motivators for it. I still talk to them today, and knowing that teachers are play a big role in a student's education is that in order to build and create a district that supports students, that also means supporting teachers, as well as parents, reaching out to parents, having those dialogues, those comfortable conversations, say, how do I help my child, is very important. So I definitely created conversation through when I was in school, because I've only been out of school for not a very long time.
Right.
But I was able to create that conversation, create that, that dialogue, and be like, your child is doing great. Don't second guess that. There are maybe some other pathways or guides that you can do. So those are a big thing.
Do you have any other ideas about how the district might stay in touch with the needs of those teachers? Anything that they should be doing or promoting, or any ways that they can stay in touch with the needs of the parents more thoroughly?
I think it's just more opportunity for communication. I feel like sometimes there's just that distance between the two, and there's not a very cohesive interpersonal relationship. And by creating that dialogue and keeping that room open, the floor open, to be like, what are your concerns? What are the things that we need to address?
Make sure they're heard.
Correct. So opening more town hall meetings, or outside of just the school board meetings, maybe some other opportunities for them to communicate with us better is one step to address any issues that they might have.
Okay, thank you. Now, the socioeconomic makeup of Fort Bend ISD is very, very diverse from campus to campus. And so what do you think can be done to address the achievement gap from campus to campus, and so every student has opportunity to succeed?
Right. I think the first thing is definitely analyzing what we already have, to start from the base and be like, okay, this school, does it have the resources that they need? The very basic resources. That means, does every student have a desk to sit in? Are there enough desks in the classroom? Are there enough, whiteboards? All those types of things. You start off with the very basic necessities and work your way up, trying to make sure that kids are not feeling overwhelmed in an overcrowded classroom, or they're not sitting in trailers because there's no room. That's the first thing, is just analyzing what we have. And in order to improve academic achievement is, to me, it personally goes back to mental health, is that if students are feeling stressed, overly stressed, and then that puts strain on teachers and administrators and parents, all of them. So analyzing that first to the resources that we have within each school is the first step.
And you mentioned that overcrowding, which could be a source of stress and grief to students, mental health wise and stuff like that. So that's wonderful.
I was in like a classroom that was with 40 students, and I was not motivated to learn. It was not the ideal learning environment. So it definitely stressed out the teachers as well. So it's very important to make sure that that classroom meets the needs for the students.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Also, Fort Bend County in particular is a very, very diverse and growing county. We speak more than 90 dialects and languages throughout our county, and so we want to make sure that every voice is heard, and that families that come from different backgrounds, that they are served by the district. What do you think we can do to serve different, make sure that different cultures and maybe families that speak different languages, that they can be served equally? I
think first thing is definitely educating the students that there are more than one culture. We live in a diverse city. We're one of the top, I think, 3 or 5 cities in the entire nation. So first off is definitely providing that education that, this person eats different types of foods, or like there's a different language, there's a different culture behind it, and we should respect it. And then the district, I believe, providing resources like translators or resources in different languages is very helpful, so they're not breaking that language barrier, and trying to kind of make that line disappear. I know for me, I'm Vietnamese American and I'm not fluent in Vietnamese, but I do know that there are family friends that reach out like, I don't know what this means, can you translate it? They want to be involved in their child's or their family member's education, but because of that language barrier, it's very difficult. So,
can this district do anything to better help those families?
I definitely think making sure that, the resources, for example, on the website, making sure that they know that there's access to different languages, redirecting them to professionals that may know another language is another way. Being culturally sensitive, all of that is very important.
I want to thank you so much for taking time to come and see us today and talk to us about your ideas. Is there any other ideas that you would like us to explore or you want to present?
I think just the main thing is that whoever is on the board is to make sure that we're viewing things in the bigger picture to make sure it benefits the student body and to bring that fresh momentum going back on so it affects students in a positive way.
I want to thank you so much for spending time with us today and everybody get to know you better and get to know your personality. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, that's Lily Lamb, and I want to remind our voters early voting starts April 22nd and runs through April 30th with voting day open May 4th. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at the polls.